It's not too late to make a move into predictive analytics. Among small and mid-sized carriers we surveyed, we found that half the carriers using predictive analytics have been doing so for 2 years or less, and half of those not already using predictive analytics intend to start in the next 12 months. So we're still in the first wave of predictive analytics adoption, particularly in commercial lines. At Vallon, we see companies going through distinct phases in their journey to implement predictive analytics. Everyone starts at phase 0. Phase 0 is where we're simply not using predictive analytics at all. We may be aware of predictive analytics or even planning on going there in the future, but the key is we haven't taken any action yet. A carrier moves to phase 1 when they start their first project. These are typically low-hanging fruit, easy wins. We call them beachhead projects because they are easily identifiable targets and there's a lot to gain for a very small investment of time and effort. They tend to be underwriting models used for pricing or risk selection, used to grow a book of business, or to fix a loss ratio issue. Phase 2 happens when a carrier expands upon the early wins that they've seen in phase 1. They are emboldened by the success and the progress that they're seeing, and they find more ways to implement predictive analytics within the company. There's organizational support from actuarial, from underwriting, and from executive. These phase 2 projects might see a move into other lines of business, or it might involve addressing claims, audit, or marketing. They're encouraged and validated by their phase 1 success to make predictive analytics a core part of their operations. Phase 3 is about maturity. Predictive analytics is used throughout the organization, and now the focus is on optimization. We want to make our models better. We want to make them work better together. And we want to find more sources of data to expand upon the power of our models. Believe it or not, it's the move from phase 0 to phase 1 that we think is the most impactful for a company. What can happen in phase 1? Well, it turns out quite a lot. We looked at the phase 1 class of 2012. These are work comp carriers that implemented their first models in 2012. We measured the change in their accident year loss ratios over the next 2 years compared to the entire work comp industry. We found that this period, 2011 to 2014, had great results for the work comp industry as a whole. That's the orange line here. Loss ratios improved nearly 10 points over that period. But the newly minted phase 1 companies saw more than twice that, 24 points of loss ratio improvement. We certainly don't think you can attribute every bit of the success simply to implementing a model. But we find that companies fundamentally change the way that they manage their business when they start using predictive analytics. When they move from phase 0 to phase 1, it's not just that they're implementing a single tool, they're implementing a change in the way that they manage data. They're becoming an information-based strategy company using data-driven decision-making to target their processes, monitoring, and strategy development. They join the ranks of information-based strategy firms. This is the new economy. They've learned that data isn't a replacement for underwriting, and in fact, it offers underwriters a chance to sharpen their impact. They've learned that they can lead the market, not simply follow it. They've learned how to aggressively employ adverse selection rather than simply trying to defend against it when it appears. And they've learned that the market will be driven by those who can best make use of the available data. Using data-driven decision-making, they're bringing together actuarial, underwriting, claims, and executive functions, and they're able to compete in the new economy.